Hi guys, Puddin here with a game for you in my Tier 8 U.S. aircraft carrier or CV, the Lexington. Now, I'm going to show you my captain skills and my modules, but this one isn't all about the gameplay. It's just hopefully my final thoughts on the CV rework. It's been 3-4 weeks now. It's definitely been a week since the third hotfix, which dealt with pooping out fighters over DDs. Now, usually when you see me going into this, if anybody hasn't played, that's how I'm controlling my ship on where to go. But like, how is the CV rework, in my opinion, kind of come through? Good and bad. There's a couple of points I want to hit on, like throughout the whole last two videos I did. Like a couple of the comments that I think need to be talked about just a little bit more in depth instead of just a quick 2-3 minutes, which may seem like it's sometimes not. When I hammer them home, seem a little bit longer. But right now, AA kind of feels in a decent spot. Now, I can't remember. The gentleman pointed out he's 100% correct, and you're never going to fix AA. AA, just because of the way the mechanic and way AA works, it's going to be near impossible to perfectly balance out. So with that thought in mind, the reason I suggest that a plus and minus one for matchmaking for tiers is it doesn't fix the situation, but it lessens the problem. A tier 8 carrier going up against tier 9s, even destroyers, it's painful. It usually doesn't end out too well. And a tier 10 carrier going after tier 8s, tier 8s just feels so useless. I mean, you're going to see in this video, I'm going to go after a Missouri and a Rune with planes, and I'm going to be able to pull off 2-3 strikes. But then when I bring my planes to deal with 2 DDs, which are tier 10 and St. Louis, they're just going to take so much damage. But with the +1, -1, I feel like, you know what, the tier 9s aren't, don't have weak AA. They're going to feel like their AA is doing something. Tier 8 AA is, it's adequate. And then, you get to tier 7, so the carrier actually has something to strike. But the one thing I wanted to point out or really say is, I'm bad with names, so I'm sorry if I say it wrong, or I'm not even going to attempt it because I don't want to do that. But you brought up like, oh, everybody just groups up in an AA. You know what? That situation is not just in this iteration of CVs. Smart teams did it with the old carriers. If you grouped up an AA, it's not easy for that carrier to pull off strikes. It's even harder now because you do only have that one squadron. But usually you have enough planes to break through to pull off at least one strike. If you're lucky and you're able to dodge flak, unlike my horrendous ability, you may be able to pull off a second, especially going up against tiers that are higher than you. Now, just so everybody knows, this is actually done off the replay. It's not done off the live, recorded live. But, I mean, you saw the other tier 10 carrier go after a Baltimore. Like, I would never go after really Baltimore unless he really needed the Izing extremely low. But I mean, this is what I'm saying. I know I'm leaving my planes in an AA bubble of a Rune and a Missouri. I know the Missouri's probably got the stronger AA than Rune, but the Rune might have access to defensive fire. But you know what? I'm losing a lot of. I'm losing planes. The planes are losing health relatively quickly, and I did hit my health. But I mean, just as strong as that AA was, I was still able to get off 2 strikes and do some damage against a tier 9 battleship. I wouldn't even think about doing that if it was a tier 10, even like the Yamato. Like AA is just, it's so hard to get straight and balance. The other thing is, I think a lot of carriers don't do, or at least the less skilled ones, is you saw what I kind of did at the beginning. I scouted the living crap out of B, then I started scouting out where the enemy is, just to feed my team information, because I am the lower tier. I don't want to really get into fights. I want to catch that one DD who's by himself and, try to get my team to shoot at it, but feed, just to feed my team information. And, if everybody's in a big ball of death, even in the older generation, a lot of carriers are just going to spend a lot of their time looking for the one target, taking their time. And this is where I kind of like this generation is, you can't just kind of throw your planes away, but if you throw your planes away just willy-nilly, you're going to have a difficult time more or less towards the end, but you won't be out of planes. It's just going to take forever for your planes to get together, which is kind of why you see me just go in for these guys at the start. Just trying to do what I do, and I'm still so far getting off topic. So hard to watch replay and not talk about what I'm doing. But I mean, look at this AA. It's a St. Louis. It's a shimmy. I'm coming in on a shimmy now. I don't know if that's St. Louis pop DF, but just they completely shredded those planes. Now I do believe I have a little bit more health on the dive bombers than per se like my tour planes. But I think the one thing that they can do is maybe up if they're not going to do a +1, -1, lessen the burden of, or lessen the respawn timer for when your planes get wiped out. Because even if it's a tier 10 and everybody's balled up, it's just so hard to get through. And I'm glad they punished people for abusing the F key, which is pretty much, go in, I got a flawed, boom, let me hit my F key, get another squadron up because they're already ready. That punishment needs to stay the same. I don't disagree with that. But, I'm trying to go in and do stuff, and I am, bottom tier. It's not easy getting in there. I mean, I'm gonna do a dirty little trick just to keep these things alive, but look how fast these guys are losing health. And luckily the DDs smoked up and I was able to pretty much get out of AA just by going over the island or the mountain, and I'm able to set up on the St. Louis because nobody can spot my planes, and I'm using the island for cover. But if these things were so spotted, all of those guys would have been able to eat up my my dive bombers. Now, I'm not the best at doing drops. I'm not the best at attacking. I know this, and I understand this, but still, I'm trying. But it's just I'm losing so many planes. It's not easy. The other thing is the auto consumables. A lot of people hit on. I like the auto consumables. I think they can do them better. I like a premium version of these But the premium version isn't per se needed because you don't get CV sniped anymore. It's people just don't do it. It's a waste of time. But still, maybe just an auto consumable. Like if you're in a fight for your life and you really need that, you need a fighter. You need something to come back off cooldown. It'd be nice if there was a shorter version, but I mean, just just look what happened there. I mean, I'm going to assume the Baltimore, but I'm sure those two DDs are still there. I mean, just look how badly these planes got raped. I mean, this is one thing I'm glad they kind of fixed, kind of not. The whole fighter consumable. As far as I'm concerned, just get rid of it. Just get rid of the fighter consumable in general. I don't think it's really needed. I think sticking together with teammates is better than pooping out this fighter because, there's no more panic effect. So, I don't feel fighters are really needed anymore because the big benefit of the fighters was one, strafing, which was a broken mechanic in my opinion, to shoot down planes, and the panic. The panic function was really the best use of that stuff to make it easier for people to dodge. And considering the panic effect for fighters is gone, just lose the fighters, because you know what? Guess what? Now if you want to spot, you've got to make the decision. The same decision a DD may have. Do I go torp this battleship, or do I keep this guy spotted? Now, while a DD can still torp anything, he's got to decide. Do I move on? Do I keep this guy spotted? Do I go for damage? Stuff like that. And, the fighters don't last long enough to warrant fly out of your way, poop out a fighter to spot, and then go do damage. Like, it doesn't warrant it. It helps against destroyers, the most part, especially for attack planes, because you can pull them out a little bit farther. The fighters keeping them spotted. Most people don't even use their fighters to protect the fleet. They use it for spotting anyways. So as far as I'm concerned, just drop fighters. Get rid of it. I don't think they're really needed. It's not that they're bad. It's just, you know what? I've had so many people, oh, you didn't give me AA protection. Dude, you're on the J line. Like, I have to fly all the way to the J line because you're alone. There's nobody down there, and the carrier's picking on you. Drop a fighter that lasts 30 seconds or so, and then I have to hope that the enemy carrier is going to come in while I'm doing all of that, and he can easily see the stuff. Oh, look, his planes are down there. He pooped out a fighter. Let me just wait the 30 seconds. I'll bring him back in. It's a waste of, time because you decided to go off alone instead of sticking with the fleet. So, a fighter consumable we can lose, but the thing about the auto consumables, considering I bitch about fighters long enough, is the damn con. The most important thing to put out is the flood. Even though the flood lasts 30 seconds, that is the thing that's going to cause the most damage to you. It's a 5-second fire. Just, okay, you're going to burn for 5 seconds. I don't know how they could work it out to where the consumable can detect the difference. If they can't, then you know what, it is what it is. But put that consumable on. It's just, I understand it's probably hard to balance. It's just something I would like to see, and I'm not sure how they would need to fix it. I like the auto consumable on the, like I said, fighter on the carrier. I think that one should remain the same. Because for the most part, it's not till the end of the game when the enemy carrier really is going after you, or even at the start. And at the start, you're not in danger, and at the end of the game, it's really not the carrier you should be afraid of. But just, you know what, the burning and the flooding, you know, it will add up to where you could maybe potentially not get a strike off and save the game, save your ship, do something. And I know these are probably rare occurrences more than common. But the other thing is, it's been how many weeks, guys, and carriers have not gone away, but they're not as common as they were, I would say, not week 1, but week 2. Week 2, there were still a lot of carriers being played, unlike, well, I mean, even the first weekend of the rework. Like, you were guaranteed to be in a CV game. No, you're not. And it's kind of gone back to the normal a little bit. You know, carriers aren't a common thing, but they're not uncommon at the same point. It's a real fine tune, which I think is, you know, I think it's good for the game. I think carriers are good for the game. I kind of like this iteration of them, but I mean, like, the skill gap that, you know what, I was talking about really comes into, like, the strafing mechanic, which was, in my opinion, broken. If you knew the little trick of turning off animated small objects, if you had less micro stuttering, if you knew how to turn those planes around right away, like, if you knew every single little dirty trick, there was nothing the other guy could do. And some of it is, yes, people needed to learn how to get better, but the other thing is, if you had the better machine, you were able to do this more because you got less of the stuttering than the person who didn't. And at that point, it turns into, well, I can just buy my way into it. I'm not saying all the situations were like that. It's just that usually kind of what happens, or did happen. You know, this game's quickly actually wrapping up, and all we have to do is survive. But I mean, you can see how fast I'm just burning through planes trying to get anything done on it. And look, I'm still getting strikes in on a Baltimore, but he's still just ripping me my plane's the new one, and he is an AA cruiser, and he is with the St. Louis. And this is why I'm saying I think a +1, -1 would be a lot better than it not. So with that being said, guys, we're just going to check out the post-battle results. Now we filled our thoughts and concerns about this CV rework and what's been going on through videos, comments, Reddit section. I think everybody in the community, and I think with the latest little hotfix or patch, it may be some time before we see any sort of drastic change to the CV rework. The only thing is, I really wish that putting the strong side AA you could do through the compass was one thing I forgot to mention in the video. But I think it's going to be a while before wargaming really does something, unless something is obviously broken very hard. Because they're probably just going to start collecting data at this point. Now, we do appreciate all you guys' support. We do appreciate all the videos you guys do send us. The email for that is in the description down below. Please remember to compliment good teamwork, good team play. We are quick to report, slow to compliment. Please hit that like and subscribe button, and have yourselves one heck of a great day.